What's up, guys and ghouls? Welcome back to Living Dead Garage, where we bring the dead back to life. Today's episode, we're back working on my 55 Buick Special for some much needed maintenance. Now, if you guys have been with the channel, a few episodes ago, or a few months ago, I bought this thing. Had been sitting for an unknown amount of years. It was a lot. Got it back running again, overhauled the brake system, resealed the fuel tank, put some tires on it, did some interior work, and I drove it around for a while. Until I started running into some issues. Mainly, all four brakes started hanging up at the same time. Like bad enough to the point where I almost got stranded. Driving along one day, started smelling brakes, started lacking a lot of power, and my brake pedal was really stiff and it would go almost all the way to the floor before you would feel any engagement. Therefore, I feel like the piston is sticking in the cylinder itself. If you watched the second episode where we rebuilt that master cylinder, I had bought a new one. It was supposed to be a direct fit, but it was not. So we just rebuilt it and shoved it back in and it worked, and now suddenly it's not doing the thing anymore. So besides that issue, the carburetor desperately needs a rebuild. So we're going to do the master cylinder, address that, and then we're also going to address the carburetor rebuild and give this thing a nice wash. That being said, enough talking, let's get into it. Under the Buick here, I went ahead and pulled the master. Not really seeing anything too alarming, but it's not always visible with issues with these things. So I'll bring it over to the workbench here. Start farting around with it. It's either the piston, which here's a good example, is getting seized inside the cylinder and not returning properly, or there is a tiny return hole that lets fluid back into the master when you let off the brake pedal. That might be plugged up, not letting fluid back into here, which would also cause the brakes to all hang up. So I'm gonna fart around with this thing and see what I can come up with. I'll come back with an update. Looking at this thing here, it's probably can't see that too well, but she's a little nasty in there yet. So what I'm going to do is I got to pop that clip off, and then this push rod will come out, and then there should be another clip back there holding the piston and spring in. Here's the replacement I had bought. And the reason this won't work is this fitting here, where you screw the brake line in, is like an inch deep. And the brake line fitting that comes stock on the Buick is not that deep, as you can clearly see. So there's a part that screws in and out here, but not on here. So that's why I couldn't use the brand new one. I'm not sure why it's different like that. I mean, everything else seems pretty much the same, aside from that. I did consider putting this sucker in a bandsaw and cutting this off flush with the main body so I could gain some distance, but this was $90. And before I go and possibly ruin that, I want to try and get this one to work before I do anything drastic. Now I've been hunting around to try and find a 5/16 line fitting that's an inch long that is the correct thread. Now, I thought I found one at inlinetube.com. Got it in the mail. I was like, oh, sweet. Nope. It's the wrong frickin' thread. It starts and then immediately jams up. So, that doesn't work. That cost me $9 frickin'. And then they also charged, or no, that cost me $5 and they charged me like $10 shipping. I paid like $16 total. What the hell is that? Anyway, back to this other frustrating thing. I'm going to blow this apart and see what's going on. When I did take it off, I did depress the piston and it was moving fluid normally, but when I collapsed it all the way, it didn't want to return right away. So that is indicative of my first theory that it's getting jammed up inside the cylinder here. So see if we can't fix that. I got her blown apart here. I got this fitting off the end, and then you've got the spring and some sort of check valve, I think that is. And you got a cup seal that goes on the end of that. And then looks like we got a little seal washer. And then your main piston and seal. This is what drives the brake fluid. And it's got little holes here. I don't know if I can get it on camera, but some of them you can see through. And some you cannot. Well, I don't know if that's contributing to it, but we're going to clean that out. And also, see if I can, I need more hands inside here. There's your main hole right there. And then in front of it, you can't really see it on camera, but there's a little ittiest bittiest hole. Yeah, you can't see any light coming through it. So that hole's plugged, and I believe that's the one that lets fluid back into the master cylinder after you release your brake pedal and the piston goes out. That pressure can go right back into the master, therefore releasing your brake wheel cylinders. So that might be part of it, but the big thing is the inside of this. You can kind of see that rust ridge in there. That is what's hanging up our main piston. So I can actually feel it pretty heavily with my finger, and it's no wonder it's hanging up on us. I don't have a little mini hone for doing brakes and stuff, but I found this little goddammit and I put it on my drill. I'm going to run that around in there and try and smooth off that rust ridge. Alright, let's see if this works. Oh. Well, that didn't last very long. Well, shit. I guess we'll just do this then. Problem solved. I did some cleaning, and now you can clearly see that little itty bitty return hole is now clear. So I'm going to start putting this thing back together and cross my fingers. Yeah, that already feels way better. Well, she's back in. Probably gonna have to bleed everything. Probably have to have my wife come out and help me, or just not bleed them and crash this thing. No, we'll probably bleed them because I kind of like this thing. But last time I was under here, this torque ball boot was leaking like an SOB. So I took one of these band clamps for like CV axles and I clamped it on there, and look at that, she's barely leaking anymore. Now it's just leaking from, you know, everywhere else. So that's better, I guess. Anyway, my little hone job didn't do much. The aluminum in that cylinder is pretty heavily pitted. So I'm just kind of crossing my fingers and hoping that the clogged return port was in fact the issue. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's okay, and then move on to the carb rebuild. here is the nail head, the gutless nail head. These things weren't known for making a lot of power, but the accelerator pump is non-existent in this carburetor, so it really is lacking power. So let's get this oil bath air cleaner off and get this carb popped off of there. We got our Carter. I believe this is a Carter carb. Yep. It's a 2-barrel, even though it doesn't look like it from up top. But yeah, she's pretty dirty. Sitting many years. It's probably full of junk. I'm not gonna do step-by-step on how to rebuild this. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do this. So if you guys want to know how to do that, there's a ton of other videos that could better explain this. Just for time's sake, I'm just going to blow this apart, clean it, throw it back together. I'll let you guys know what I find besides a bad accelerator pump. So we'll see in a bit. I got an update. Got the carb apart. I don't know if you can see that. Look at all that sediment. Come on now, focus. Yeah. All that sediment in there. It's a surprise that this thing even ran as well as it did. As well, that's our leather seal for our accelerator pump. That's why that wasn't really doing anything. There's a lot of corrosion. I'm gonna have to do a nice thorough cleaning on this, and this thing should run way better as long as I do everything right. I got her all cleaned up back together. I only had to take it back apart like 2 times because I messed something up, but I think we have a functioning carburetor here. A lot cleaner than what it was. Since we're going to be putting nice clean carb on this not so clean engine, I'm going to soak this down in degreaser and give it a much needed power wash. And then hopefully we can take this thing for a test drive. Got the carb back on, engine's all cleaned up. I think it's about time to try and fire this old girl up. Knock the key on. I don't know if we're gonna have spark because everything is wet and points don't like being wet. So I guess let's just rotate her and until we get fuel up. Oh, I forgot to hook the fuel line up. Let me hook that up quick. Okay, round 2. No, I'm pretty sure I heard it fire, so we probably do have spark. Oh, I gotta turn the key on. On. Here we go. Okay. So far, so good. Didn't like that. Didn't like throttle at all. Still a little lazy off idle, but maybe she'll clean up. I'll put the air cleaner on and we'll take it for a quick drive. Well, actually I should probably test how the brakes are. I didn't even bleed them yet. Sounds like future Brandon problem. Let's go to the gas station, put some gas in this thing. See how she rides. A little better, not better. This thing was always slow from the beginning, so it's kind of hard to tell. Looks like we are kind of low on gas, so that might have something to do with it. All right, we're all gassed up. See how she starts. Better. The accelerator pump is definitely helping. Before, if you gave it gas too quickly, it would just kind of... Oh, way better throttle response. The brakes are working, but they do need to be bled. Acceleration is definitely night and day compared to what it was. You know, all these old Buicks with the nail heads, 0 to 60 in about an afternoon, but man, they're still fun to drive. Nice little car to go get ice cream or groceries, whatever. If you guys haven't checked out episode 1 where we got this running, go check that out. The guy that I got it from had already had it running, so it kind of fired right up, and we just had to take care of brakes and all that other stuff. Fuel system. Pretty easy revival, but still a good episode. Also, if you guys want merch, we have a merch store, livingdeadgarage.store. Use code DEAD for 5% off your first order. It'll support the channel and you can look cool doing it. Either way, I think I'm going to cut the episode off here. A little short one. A little update on the Buick here. Having to do some regular maintenance. Being parked for as long as it was. It didn't take a whole lot. So, appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned. We got another barn find that I picked up recently. And that'll be coming up real soon. Like, subscribe, hype the video. Appreciate you. Check out the merch store, livingdeadgarage.store. See you on the next one.